At the Japanese Grand Prix podium ceremony, Kimi Antonelli couldn't drink the champagne. Not because he didn't want to, because in Japan, you have to be 20 years old to drink alcohol, and the championship leader of Formula One is only 19. While Oscar Piastri and Charles Leclerc popped the traditional champagne bottles, Antonelli celebrated with an unlabeled pink sparkling water. That image tells you everything about the situation this kid is in. The youngest championship leader in Formula One history. The pressure of an entire sport on his shoulders, and he can't even legally celebrate the way everyone else does. Here's the question nobody is asking seriously enough. F1 has a very specific pattern for what happens to prodigies who arrive too fast, too young, with too much pressure. And right now, Antonelli is following that pattern step by step.
In this video, I'm going to show you the exact playbook F1 uses to consume its greatest young talents before they reach their peak. I'm going to show you where Antonelli sits inside that playbook right now. And I'm going to show you the one thing, the single factor, that determines whether he becomes the next Verstappen or the next cautionary tale, apex era. Let's get into it.
Let's establish the real picture, not the press release version. Antonelli said it himself during the April break. It's crazy how much interest there was in me. I bought the newspapers the next day, read them, and I'm going to keep them. Because of course you enjoy it, and it feels good. But it's also dangerous. It's easy to lose focus and get carried away when everyone's celebrating you. A 19-year-old saying it's dangerous to get carried away is not what you expect from someone his age. That's the voice of someone who has already been coached extensively on how to handle fame. Someone who has already learned, the hard way, that the spotlight in Formula One is not a spotlight. It's a magnifying glass in the sun. Think about the position he is in right now. He entered F1 last year, replacing Lewis Hamilton, the most decorated driver in the sport's history. That is not a normal debut. That is like being called up to the NBA to replace LeBron James on your first professional game. The expectations were impossible from day one. His rookie year sparked genuine questions about whether his promotion was too much too soon. He struggled unusually through the European segment of the campaign, on circuits he knew from his junior career. He survived that, barely. And now, in 2026, he arrives in a new regulation era, wins back-to-back races, leads the championship, and becomes the youngest driver in F1 history to hold that position. And here's where things get uncomfortable. Because F1 has seen this exact trajectory before, and it did not end well.
Formula One has a graveyard, and it's full of names that were supposed to be the next big thing. Let's start with the most recent and most brutal case, Stoffel Vandoorne, GP2 champion in record-breaking fashion, 7 victories and 16 podiums from 21 starts. The most dominant junior championship performance anyone had seen in years. Wikipedia. Everyone in the paddock agreed, this was a future world champion. He was seen as one of the greatest talents in the sport. But tensions within McLaren and a bad car prevented Vandoorne from living up to his potential. After 2 seasons being outperformed by teammate Fernando Alonso, he lost his seat to Lando Norris. GP blog Vandoorne himself later admitted, "I got the seat probably at the wrong time, and the performance was just not there." Planet F1. He never won a Formula One race, not one, and he left the sport quietly, while everyone moved on to the next prodigy. But here's the pattern that makes this story really dark. Vandoorne's problem wasn't talent. His problem was the system around him. A broken car, a teammate who dominated the team's resources, a team that gave up on him before he had the tools to succeed. And now, Antonelli is in a Mercedes, with George Russell as his teammate, a driver who has been at the team longer, knows the engineers better, and has won a world championship race. Does that combination sound familiar? The pattern does not care about talent. The pattern feeds on circumstance.
This is where the news that triggered this video becomes important. During the April break, Antonelli gave interviews to multiple outlets, and if you read what he said carefully, the pressure is already showing. Not in a dramatic way, in the way that someone trained to handle cameras shows pressure. It's easy to lose focus and get carried away when everyone's celebrating you, but I've also noticed that expectations of me have changed drastically. That's why I no longer use social media on race weekends, to avoid feeling any additional pressure. 19-year-old who has deleted social media on race weekends because the noise is too much. That's not a casual lifestyle choice, that's a survival mechanism. He was also honest about Suzuka in a way that most champions wouldn't be. I have to say that in Japan on Sunday, I didn't enjoy the victory as much as I wanted, because I was angry about the start. It made me want to tear my hair out. He won the race, led the championship, set a historical record as the youngest leader in the sport's history, and he was angry because the start wasn't perfect. That level of self-criticism in a 19-year-old is either the sign of a future champion or the early stage of a perfectionism that becomes impossible to sustain under 5 more months of championship pressure. And here's what nobody is talking about enough. Antonelli openly acknowledged that Russell still has the advantage in qualifying, specifically in Q3. He's always able to find that little bit extra, which I'm working on. The championship leader is openly admitting his teammate is faster in the most important session of the weekend. That is a ticking clock. Because the moment Russell starts converting that qualifying advantage into race results consistently, the narrative flips overnight. And in Formula One, narrative shifts happen fast.
There is one person in this story who understands the pattern better than anyone, and he is actively trying to interrupt it. Toto Wolff. During the April break, Wolff publicly urged the media to ease off the growing championship hype around Antonelli, calling title talk too early. News on F1. That is not a casual comment from a team principal. That is a calculated intervention. Wolff has watched this sport long enough to know exactly what happens when a 19-year-old gets consumed by championship pressure before he is ready. He saw it happen to drivers he managed. He saw it happen to drivers he competed against. The fact that Wolff is publicly pumping the brakes on Antonelli's hype, while Antonelli is leading the championship, tells you everything about how seriously Mercedes is taking the psychological dimension of this situation. Because the car is the best on the grid. The results are there. The talent is real. The variable is the mind of a 19-year-old under a pressure that no 19-year-old has ever faced in exactly this form.
F1 has broken every prodigy it ever had. Not all of them, but most of them. And the ones it didn't break share one thing in common. They had a support system that absorbed the pressure before it reached the driver. Vandoorne didn't have that. He had a broken car and a team that blamed him for it. Antonelli has Mercedes. He has Wolff actively managing the narrative. He has a car that is genuinely the best on the grid. He has a second year of experience that his rookie campaign gave him the hard way. But he also has 5 weeks of silence and expectation before Miami. 5 weeks where the championship standings don't change. 5 weeks where every media outlet in the world is writing about whether he can sustain this run. I'm already working on the starts. I'll get the steering wheel with all my settings. I'm already thinking about how to improve. News on F1. That quote reveals something important. During what should be a break, Antonelli is in the simulator, working, fixing, preparing. That is either the mentality of a future world champion who never stops improving, or it is a 19-year-old who doesn't know how to turn off, because the pressure won't let him. Miami tells us which one it is. If he arrives in Florida and drives clean, controlled and dominant, the pattern breaks. He is not the next cautionary tale. He is the next chapter. If he cracks under the weight of expectation in his first race as championship leader on home soil for his car's title sponsor, the narrative shifts. And once that narrative shifts in Formula One, it is very hard to shift it back. Because F1 has broken every prodigy it ever had. The question is whether Kimi Antonelli is built different.
Drop your comment below. Do you think Antonelli survives the pressure of this championship run, or is the pattern going to repeat itself in Miami? Because if Mercedes doesn't protect him from the noise, this might not be the beginning of a dynasty. It might be the beginning of the most painful cautionary tale Formula One has ever produced. Subscribe to Apex E-Ray. Next video, complete technical breakdown of Miami. Every corner, every upgrade, every reason this circuit is going to test Antonelli in ways Suzuka never did. See you in Miami.